Hi everyone, and welcome back to Harvest Headlines. Dairy farming is a huge part of New Zealand's identity, not just culturally, but economically. It's the country's largest exporter, contributing to billions in the economy each year. Most people know us for our cows and green paddocks, but there's a lot more to the industry than just milking cows twice a day. Before we go any further, let's break down the typical dairy farming calendar in New Zealand. While every farm is different, many follow a seasonal schedule based on spring calving. June to July, calving prep and early births. This is when farmers prepare for calving by checking equipment, cleaning sheds, and reviewing pasture plans. Early calves, especially heifers, begin to arrive by late June. Cows that are close to calving are monitored more closely and feed plans are adjusted to support their health. July to September, peak calving. This is the busiest and often the most stressful time of the year. Calves are born almost daily, and farmers are busy feeding colostrum, tagging calves, treating any sick or weak newborns, and ensuring cow health. Twice a day, milking is the norm, and many farms hire seasonal workers or calf rearers to help manage the load. Nights are short and days are long. October to December, mating and AI. Once calving ends, cows begin cycling again, and farmers use artificial insemination, or AI, to breed for next season. Bulls are often introduced after the AI period to catch any cows that didn't get pregnant. This time also requires close observation, drafting cows for AI, maintaining records, and often managing multiple mobs of animals based on age and pregnancy status. January through to March, peak milk production. During the height of summer, cows are producing at their peak. Pasture growth slows due to the heat, so farmers often supplement with silage or other stored feeds. Irrigation becomes important in drier regions. Farmers may also be busy with topping paddocks, weed control, and rotating pastures carefully to keep up milk flow. April to May, dry off and transition. As the days shorten and the grass growth slows, milk production begins to decline. Farmers start drying off cows to give them a break before calving. This process includes checking udders for mastitis, applying dry cow therapy, and reviewing the herd's body condition. Equipment maintenance and end-of-season cleanup also take place. Winter, May to June. Wintering. Cows are moved to wintering blocks or fed crops like kale or fodder beet. Managing nutrition is crucial. As most cows are now pregnant and preparing for calving, farmers monitor weather closely, manage mud to reduce animal stress, and shift break fences daily to ensure even grazing. It's a time for planning, restocking supplies, and sometimes even taking a short break, if they're lucky. This seasonal rhythm shapes everything on a dairy farm, from labour needs and budgeting to training new staff and timing herd health plans. And within this schedule that farmers like Michaela and Zara build their careers. Dairy is New Zealand's largest export industry. In fact, we export around 95% of all the milk we produce, mostly in the form of milk powder, cheese, butter, and other dairy products. That milk ends up in places like China, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East, making dairy a key contributor to our national income and rural livelihoods. There are nearly 5 million dairy cows in New Zealand. To put that into perspective, that's more cows than people. And all of those cows need care, feed, shelter, and health management every single day of the year. But behind the stats are real people doing real work. Dairy farming isn't just about milking cows. It involves early starts, late nights, animal health, pasture management, machinery breeding programs, and now a growing focus on environmental sustainability. The work is physically demanding and mentally tough, but for many, it's also deeply fulfilling. New Zealand's dairy system is also quite unique. Unlike countries that rely on indoor feedlots, we use a pasture-based system. Cows graze freely in the paddocks, which improves their well-being and reduces some input costs. This system makes the most out of our climate and lush grass, but it also means our farmers are constantly dealing with nature, droughts, floods and frosts. The unpredictability of New Zealand weather patterns continues even into dairy farming. It's a system that depends heavily on strong pasture management skills and long-term planning. The challenges don't stop there. The industry is under increasingly scrutiny to lower its environmental footprint. So things like riparian planting, influent management, and nitrogen limits are now part of a farmer's everyday reality. New rules are constantly evolving, and keeping up with regulations can feel like a job in itself. But most farmers understand the importance of protecting the land for future generations, and many are actively investing in more sustainable practices. There's also innovation happening all the time, from apps that track herd health to GPS systems on tractors, to breeding programs that focus on lower methane producing cows. It's an industry that's slowly modernising, blending traditional knowledge with new technology. And yet, amidst all of that, young people are stepping into the dairy world. Some are born into it. Others find their way through school, mentors, or pure curiosity. More women are entering the industry too, reshaping what a modern farmer looks like. Today, I want to share the stories of two young women carving out their own paths in the dairy industry, Michaela and Zara. Both are under 20 and already have impressive experience, strong opinions, and valuable insight into the life on the farm. Let's start with Michaela. Michaela is 19. While she didn't grow up on a farm, she was always surrounded by rural life, especially the trucking industry. She's been riding horses since she was 3 and spent her high school years competing, first in show and later in show jumping. These days, she's moving into eventing. After leaving high school at the start of year 13, Michaela enrolled in the Diploma of Agriculture at Lincoln University. She's a regional student, and the course has allowed her to gain hands-on experience while also studying the theory behind farming procedures. Her first farming job actually came from a surprising place. She was originally lined up to work as a polo groom, but during a casual conversation, her employer mentioned that they also owned a dairy farm. The conversation shifted, and Michaela found herself milking cows before she knew it. She officially started dairy farming in July 2024, and it's her first role in agriculture. She splits her time working as a polo groom in the warmer months, then rearing calves from August to the end of September. The rhythm of the work suits her. She loves the animals and variety, and of course being outdoors. When she finally stepped into the milking shed, she was shown around, taught how to use the silos, where the milk goes, and how to stay safe around heavy equipment. But one comment stood out. Someone commented on her broad shoulders as a reason she'd be good for the job. It was a reminder that sometimes physical assumptions still come before someone's actual capability or personality. Despite that, Michaela hasn't faced major gender-based barriers in her current job. But before she landed it, she interviewed on a crop and sheep farm where the farmer's attitude was noticeably different. Even though he gave her a full tour, it felt like he didn't take her seriously, and it left her feeling unwelcome. Unfortunately, that's still a reality in parts of the industry. Her advice? Find the right people to work for. People who respect you for what you can actually do. Michaela says her favourite part of the job is the variety. No 2 days are the same. One moment she's in the shed, the next she's riding or moving brake fences. She's lucky to have a team that gets along with her. For her, farming isn't just a job, it's a lifestyle. Getting up at 4:30 in the morning, easier than sleeping in, she reckons. But newborn calves who don't want to drink, now that's frustrating. They need colostrum in their first few hours, and teaching them to latch onto a bottle can take a lot of patience. There are also the small annoyances, the stubborn cow who won't move, the rain, the mess, but those are minor compared to how much she enjoys what she does. She's also learnt to accept the harder parts of dairy, like what happens to the bobby calves. Most of the male Friesians on her farm are sent off at a young age. At first, that was really hard to deal with, but now she understands that it's part of the larger farming system. Her day shift within the season. During calving, July through August, it's early starts. 2 milkings a day, cleaning the shed, shifting fences, and checking on lame cows. Later in the season, they move to a once-a-day milking, and eventually to a 16-hour rotation. The calves are raised in sheds, then moved to paddocks, and sent off until they're old enough to return and go and calf. Michaela's final piece of advice? Take any opportunity that comes your way. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Farming is hard, but worth it, and any reputation means more than qualifications in many cases. Let's talk about Zara. Zara also has strong roots in the primary sector. Her granddad worked on stations, and her mum was raised on multiple farms. Zara's parents owned a 20-hectare block full of animals, horses, sheep, cattle, and of course chickens. So she grew up with a love for the land. She's worked across several roles. 3 years in dairy, a year in contracting, 6 months on a sheep farm, and even a short stint in a seed place. Most of her opportunities came through connections and a solid CV. She started as a dairy assistant, eventually moving into a herd manager role. And now she's responsible for the well-being of the cows on the farm. Zara has definitely felt the pressure of being female in a male-dominated space. She's been underestimated, passed over for jobs where guys were chosen just because it was easier than training someone new. She's experienced imposter syndrome, especially when it came to machinery or heavy lifting. But she's also learned that farming is a team sport. Everyone brings different strengths. Some are better with animals, others with tractors, others with pasture planning, and that's okay. Her favourite part of the job is the animals. She says, no cows, no money, and it's true. But it's not just about the profit. It's about watching calves grow into healthy heifers, seeing them have their own babies, and knowing your hard work is part of a bigger cycle. She also loves the people. When you're waking up at 4 a.m, it makes all the difference to know you've got a good team beside you. People who get it. People who keep you going. That said, Zara's been through some tough stuff. Losing calves she spent hours caring for. Watching new mums search for babies that have been separated. Being 17 and having the weight of a farm on her shoulders, the emotional toll is real. Her least favourite part? Artificial insemination. We talked briefly about this earlier. I mean, she gets why it's done, but finds the process invasive and uncomfortable. Her advice to future farmers? Keep your expectations low and your standards high. Don't go into dairy for the money. It's a lifestyle, not a 9 to 5. You're always on call. Even in the middle of winter, you might have to head out to check valves or shift cows in the dark. She also says, don't compare yourself to others. Everyone's learning. Everyone doubts themselves sometimes. Find your own rhythm. And don't forget to pause every now and then to look at how far you've come. Her seasonal work follows a similar pattern to Michaela's. Calving starts in June, then comes AI and bull mating in November. By late summer, the focus is on pasture, topping, irrigation, feed management. As production slows, they move to once-a-day milking, then dry off around May. The cows transition to kale or fodder beet, and it's crucial to manage the change carefully, especially within calf cows. Most farms have a second block where replacement heifers are raised before being integrated into the herd again. These are just two stories, but they reflect a much bigger picture. Young people are choosing careers in agriculture. Women are stepping up and succeeding in spaces that haven't always welcomed them. Michaela and Zara are proof that dairy farming isn't just hard work. It's meaningful, challenging, and incredibly rewarding. Thanks for listening to this episode of Harvest Headlines. If you're curious about our future in farming or just want to chat more, we'd love to connect. Until next time.